Hi, my name is Professor Hankinson, and I will be the instructor this semester for American Government and Politics. And I want to welcome you to the fall semester 2021. The point of this video is just to give you a quick overview of what we're going to be learning about this semester. When you take a look at our Canvas site and when you take a look at the course schedule and due dates, you'll see that the class is broken up into 3 units. The first unit that you're going to be learning about is the foundations of American government and politics. The second unit that we're going to be taking a look at is the institutions of American government. And the third unit that we're going to be taking a look at is we're going to be looking at American politics. And so there are three, units that, kind of give you this complete picture or this sort of a complete introduction to the study of American government and politics. In the first unit, the unit that focuses on the foundations of American government, in that unit, we're going to be taking a look at the core documents that found the United States of America. And so you'll be learning about the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and also political culture. That is the shared values and beliefs of our American political system. So you'll be getting to read the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence in that section. You're also going to be learning about core principles such as federalism, civil liberties, and civil rights in that section as well. Federalism sounds boring, but it's actually really fascinating. Federalism is the division of power between the national government and the state's government. As you're going to be finding in the course of this semester, the founders of the United States government were really concerned about the abuse of power. They knew that if power went unchecked, that it would likely be abused. So you're going to see that in the architecture of American democracies, there are a lot of checks that are placed on individuals that have power. And one of those checks is that is the check that states place on the national government's power, and vice versa, the check that the national government places on the state's power. And so federalism is really interesting because we're unique in that in the way that we divide power, sort of shared power between the national government and the state governments. You'll also be learning about civil liberties and civil rights, and those are distinct, concepts. Civil liberties, I like to tell students that civil liberties are the thou shall nots, and that they're found in the first 10 amendments of the United States Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And so civil liberties are these things that we tell government that it can't do. We tell government that it can't infringe our freedom of speech, that it can't search us without probable cause, that it can't try us without a jury, that it can't establish a religion, and so on. So civil liberties are really the things we tell government that it can't do. And in doing that, we open up the protection for individual rights. And so that we get a certain liberty or freedom to do things because government is prohibited or restrained from entering into that domain. Civil rights is different. Civil rights is where we place an obligation on government to make sure that people are treated equally in the United States. And it stems from this thing called the Equal Protection Clause in the 14th Amendment. So you'll be learning about how even though our government is founded upon the core value that all men are created equal, that defining what that means, what equality means, is a product of struggle, where people began saying that they demanded to be treated equally as well, and that we place an obligation on government to not discriminate against people based on their race or their sex or their physical abilities, etc. And so that's sort of the first part of the semester, these core foundational values. In the second unit, we'll be learning about the institutions of government. Government is basically defined as the institutions and procedures that rule over people. And in the first unit, you're going to be learning about that there's lots of different types of governments, right? There's democracies, but there's also autocracies where one person rules or where many people rule, etc. And they all have different institutions and procedures. And so you'll be learning about the institutions and procedures that are in place for our democratic government in the United States. In this section, you're going to be learning about Congress, you're going to be learning about the presidency, and you're going to be learning about the federal courts, the Supreme Court in particular, and all of the procedures that are associated with those institutions that have a profound impact on our lives. And then we close out the semester by taking a look at politics. So while government is about institutions that govern over us, politics is about people struggling and trying to let their opinion be heard regarding who they want to lead us and how they want our institutions to be organized, and also the kinds of policies that we have in place that govern over us. And so politics is sort of the, while government's sort of like the skeleton or the bones of our democracy, politics is the energy behind our democracy. And so you'll be learning about voting, because voting is one of the main ways that people engage in politics, where they vote for candidates that they hope will put in place policies that align with their values and principles. We'll also be learning about ideology in that section, because what your political worldview is oftentimes shapes what your values are, what you believe, and who you're going to vote for. We're going to be learning about the media, because the media has a big impact on our values and beliefs, but also can influence how we think about public policy and how we think about candidates. And you'll also be learning about campaigns and elections and other aspects of politics. So those are the 3 units that we're going to be covering. For those of you who are taking this class, people take this class for a lot of different reasons. Some people take this class because they're like, hey, here I am in college and I still don't know very much about American government. And with everything that's going on in the world today, whether that is the ongoing pandemic with the coronavirus, or most recently the decision of the Biden administration to back out of Afghanistan, and the trouble with the evacuation that's been going on, or as we speak, Hurricane Ida is bearing down on Louisiana again. You might look at all of these things that are going on and wanting to know, what does government do? How are they going to respond? Is what they're doing correct? And so, you might be at the place where you want to learn more about American government. If that's the case, you've come to the right place. But other people take this class because they want to get involved and make a change. That whether it's through political activism or thinking about running for office, students take that class for this reason, because they want to get informed in order to be more active. And some people take it because they're thinking about going to law school. Other people take it just because they need the credit. For whatever reason you're taking the class, I think that you're going to find it really interesting. It is an online asynchronous class, so there are no set meeting patterns. But as you're going to see, and you look at our Canvas site, the Canvas site is very well organized. And I think it's going to be easy for you to figure out how to navigate this class. Taking an online class can sometimes feel sort of lonely, because you're not actually meeting in a classroom with other people. But I've designed this class that you have a lot of discussions with the classmates in this class. I've also designed it so that you're going to be watching video lectures, right, where you're going to see my face and I'll be explaining concepts to you, very similar to what would take place in the classroom. We also have ample opportunity to meet in Zoom for you to ask questions during office hours and during study sessions. Bottom line is that I'm here to help you to be as successful as you can be in this class. I'm online almost all the time because I teach online. Not all the time, but that's an exaggeration. I do watch the Brewers sometimes. But I'm easy to get in contact via email, text, phone, whatever. So anyways, I'm super psyched about this semester, and I can't wait to meet all of you. So thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.